Those who've been following my channel for a while might remember that I covered Nuvia a couple of years ago, a company that has since been acquired by Qualcomm. The startup, composed of former Apple engineers, was poised to enter the server market with an ARM-based chip that would challenge the status quo. After the acquisition from Qualcomm, most assumed the American company planned to use the Nuvia IP to get a slice of the data center. But as it turns out, it seems that what Qualcomm has planned for the Nuvia tech is something else altogether. Qualcomm wants to be a force in the PC market, and it has a powerful ally to help them get there.
Today's video is sponsored by Urcdkeys.com. If you buy a retail Windows 10 key, you could spend $100 or more. But if you buy an OEM key from Urcdkeys.com, a Windows 10 Pro key will cost you only $15 when you use the coupon code C25. The keys work globally, and you can even get a free upgrade to Windows 11 from Microsoft. After you've made your purchase, you will find your key in your purchased orders in the Urcdkeys website. Click on Get Keys and copy the key. Then in Windows, click on Start and type Activate, and then click Activation Settings. Then click Change Product Key, paste your key you just purchased, and click Next. Your copy of Windows is now activated. If you want Office 2021 Professional, you can use the same C25 discount code and get it for just $65. Urcdkeys is running a mid-year sale with some cool mechanical keyboards, gaming mice, and even gaming chairs. A big thanks to Urcdkeys.com for sponsoring today's video. Check the links in the description to get your cheap OEM Windows keys today.
So I was planning to cover Computex, but there was nothing of interest this year beyond a few new monitors and PC cases. Luckily, as the event was going on, an interview with Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon popped up on my feed, which provided some insight into what the company is doing with the Nuvia IP they purchased. In an extensive conversation with Bernstein's analyst Stacy Rasgan, Cristiano talked about how Qualcomm will leverage Nuvia for use in mobile phones, automotive, and laptops and desktop PCs in the coming years. As far as mobile is concerned, while early next year we will see the Samsung Galaxy 24 be an iterative version of what we've been seeing in previous years, with Gen 3 Snapdragon 8 focusing mostly on improving the GPU. Starting with 25, Qualcomm plans to deliver a completely new SoC with much more compelling IP for Snapdragon. This will be a highly differentiated CPU with a new core called Snapdragon Orion. Compared to the Cairo core, Orion is a completely custom ARM core. So for instance, both the MediaTek Dimensity 9200 and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 are based on the off-the-shelf ARM Cortex-X3. So these are very similar CPUs. But with Orion, Qualcomm will have its own unique custom ARM core, different from all the other SoC providers, in an effort to compete with Apple's M-series SoCs. In other words, Orion is Qualcomm's answer to the Apple custom silicon, and the strategy of a microarchitecture that traverses several product lines that we see with Apple will be transposed to this new generation of Snapdragon chips for segments like smartphones, digital cockpits, advanced driver assistance systems, extended reality, infrastructure and networking solutions, and more interesting for us enthusiasts, PCs. Along with the new CPU cores, there will be a new generation of Adreno GPU and an NPU for AI tasks. Qualcomm is betting hard on a transition of the Windows PC to modern mobile SoCs, similar to what Apple did with the M series. And guess who is Qualcomm's partner in this endeavor? Well, Microsoft. In fact, Qualcomm is Microsoft's sole partner in the transition to an ARM instruction set SoC, giving the company a massive advantage. Apple has just announced their mixed reality headset, the Vision Pro, but ahead of that launch, Meta announced the new Quest 3 headset with a Qualcomm Snapdragon SoC powering it. One of the things Apple touted with the Vision Pro is the ability to transition from the headset OS to whatever you're working on a Mac device. Qualcomm wants to create a similar synergy between devices and Windows PCs, all powered by their silicon. Microsoft is on board with this plan, with Windows 11 being a clear indication that the software giant wants the Windows future to be ARM-based. When it comes to these headsets, I'm personally skeptical of the merging of physical and digital spaces with reality headsets, and it certainly won't happen with a ridiculously overhyped Vision Pro from Apple. The form factor, the battery, the practicality just aren't there. Regardless, Qualcomm hopes to ride the wave of developers making content for the Vision and have that be compatible with Snapdragon-based headsets from Meta, Google, and others. As you can imagine, all of this presents a massive threat to Intel and AMD if the majority of users moves to ARM-based devices, and the rumors out there talk of the best laptops of next year being ARM-based already. Then by 2025, this ARM ecosystem on Windows could push x86 out of the picture. AI could also be a driver for Qualcomm. If you think about it, the cost in the data center to run AI models is growing exponentially, so it's unlikely that the answer will be solely GPUs. It's more likely that a hybrid approach will be necessary for AI to become pervasive, meaning that on the edge there will be smaller models that can run locally on devices, or devices will give the head start based on context available to you and then continue on to the cloud. A way to think about it is how mainframes transition to the personal computer and then into the palm of our hands. Accelerated computing, so NVIDIA GPU-based AI processing, will see the same trajectory, and a shift will also happen in software. Historically, there has always been a vertical player and an open horizontal player, so you had Macs as a vertical player versus Windows PCs as an open horizontal player, or iOS on mobile phones as the vertical player versus Android as the open horizontal player. It's likely that AI won't be centered around a single vertical player that is NVIDIA and their walled garden CUDA ecosystem. It's more likely that an open horizontal alternative will emerge. Qualcomm wants to be a part of this transition as well, with processing on edge devices being a huge bet for them. As far as specs are concerned, the latest rumors talk of a 12-core CPU with 8 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, and that's about as much as we know. Now, one of the key concerns is, of course, how will applications built for x86 work in this ARM-based future that Qualcomm hopes to dominate. We've come a long way when it comes to emulation on Windows. Windows 11 can now run both x86 and ARM, including 64-bit apps. Qualcomm is also offering developers hardware in the cloud where they can deploy their apps and see how they run in an ARM environment. Inside Microsoft, who by the way are also developing their own ARM SoC, there is an A team dedicated to making this transition work. Qualcomm has already won designs with Dell, HP, Lenovo, Acer, and Asus, which means these OEMs expect enterprise-level applications to run flawlessly on ARM-based devices running Qualcomm SoCs. So the NVIDIA tech that has culminated in the Snapdragon Orion core is aspiring to provide the building blocks for the Apple alternative on the Windows ecosystem. In October of this year, Qualcomm will hold their Snapdragon Summit, and I expect the Orion platform will be a big part of this, with Qualcomm seeming confident that people will be impressed with what they have to announce. And in the coming years, I expect Qualcomm to have similar events for CPU launches like Intel and AMD have had. This really will be a big player in the PC space, and with Microsoft backing them, I think Intel and AMD should really be considering creating their own ARM cores if they haven't already, before Qualcomm eats their lunch. The PC space definitely needs a shake-up, and perhaps Qualcomm can be the ones to do it. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
This video was made possible by my awesome patrons. If you join my Patreon, you will gain access to the Cortex Discord server, where myself and a welcoming community of tech enthusiasts discuss tech every day. If you can't contribute financially at this time, then please share this video as that really helps. Thanks for watching, and until the next one.